Hey everybody out there in the VC, this is Matt again, and hope everyone's doing well today. Hope you guys are getting ready for Turkey Day or Tofurkey Day, Turduncan Day, or Vegetarian Loaf Day, whatever the case may be. And yeah, this is going to be my Christmas, Show Your Christmas Records video as requested by Maggie and Adam Lee. I've seen quite a few people have already put up videos. I've enjoyed seeing those. I hope there's plenty more to come. I'm hoping that everybody on the VC does that because I really love Christmas music. And see behind me there, see how I went all out with Christmas decoration for the VC, especially for you. That's pretty over the top there. Good stuff. Actually, I'm going to get my Christmas decorations next weekend. Get on that. So I just got the Christmas stocking out there and took care of that. So love Christmas music, and what I'm going to do on this video, I think I'm going to break it up into several videos. I don't know how many, probably 3, because anyone who's watched my videos knows that I do tend to ramble, and I get on here wanting to go for 5 or 10 minutes, and I look up and go, oh my God, I've gone 25 minutes, nobody's going to watch this stuff. So since I don't want to watch a 2-hour video, I'm going to break it up, and I thought I would do CDs, albums, and then 45s. I've got a pretty good collection, I think, about 40-50 pieces, and wanted to go through those. Seen some people on here that have some really great collections. Some of them have a lot more than me, and they've been fun to watch, like I said. But so I thought I'd start off with CDs. I know, it's the VC. You're not supposed to show CDs, but the most of these, and there aren't a whole lot of them, but all but 2 of them, I think, never came out on vinyl. So uh, just I think they're pretty neat stuff. So we will start off. And Christmas music, let me say, born in '63, I've said that 100 times. Older brothers, cousin lived around the corner, and their friends. So I grew up. They were of the age when the Beatles and Rolling Stones and the '60s stuff. So I grew up listening to that stuff. I didn't really tune in to music, though I remember hearing it till I was probably in 2nd grade or so. But the first song I say that I really remember tuning into and paying attention and saying, hey, that's cool, I like that, was Light My Fire by the Doors in '67, and I would have been probably 3 because I would have turned 4 that September. Got my mom to buy the 45 for me, and ran around the house singing it and drove my family crazy. But I do remember having one of the little record players when I was a kid, that we all had from, parents or grandparents, whoever bought it for me. And I had those little records that had the Goldilocks and the Three Bears, or the Jack and the Beanstalk and those things that I'd play. And I like Snoopy. I always like to watch the Charlie Brown Christmas, still do. So not the soundtrack to that, but the Snoopy and the Red Baron by the Royal Guardsmen. I remember having that record when I was little and playing that, and some other stuff, just kids' records. And, I liked it, but I wasn't into music probably till I was about 8 or 9. I did start early, but not that early. And I remember having that had the speeds on the turntable, the 16, 33, 45, and 78. And so I'd speed it up and slow it down, which wasn't really good for the records. But so Light My Fire, I say. But then I do remember I went to a daycare center that was also had a preschool and a kindergarten and a 1st grade. And I went there. I didn't go to 1st grade there. I went to another school through 1st through 8th. But anyway, I went there in preschool and kindergarten, even before that in daycare, sometimes, not always. It's already rambling on here, but anyway, point is, Mrs. Kinnemer's Playhouse, I remember that place, long gone now. And, we're kids, and they'd line us up and have us sing every once in a while, just the Twinkle Little Star, Row Your Boat, that sort of stuff, which I don't remember really having an opinion of liking that too much or not liking it, but I know with Row Your Boat, they'd kind of do that contrapuntal where they would, this half of the kids would start and the other half would start 4 seconds later, so you'd have that delay. I thought that was kind of cool, I think. But past that, didn't really. So Christmas comes along, and I'm sure I'd heard Christmas music before then, but and I must have been 3 or 4. So we're going to sing Christmas songs. They play some Christmas records. They played, I think, like Silent Night or Away in a Manger or something, and then they played Santa Claus and Frosty. And Santa Claus is Coming to Town comes on, and I'm like, hey, wait a minute, I like this. This is cool. So I always loved Christmas music from then. And even when I was younger, I used to think that's kind of funny to think of liking Christmas music as a genre, like rock or jazz or soul or whatever, because it's just that one time a year and all that. But then I finally thought, well, why not? If you like it, you like it. Which is not to say that I play it year round, even though I have been known to play it outside of the season. But generally speaking, I keep to the season with it. So I've always liked Christmas music, and I've always consciously or subconsciously been excited when a band that I got into later, when I got into the Beatles first of all, and then Rolling Stones and other stuff followed. But always been excited when I saw that they had a Christmas record or Christmas album for some reason. I always thought that was extra special, extra neat, and so way back I got John Lennon's Happy Christmas War is Over. Used to have the 45 in the picture sleeve. I no longer have that, unfortunately. I mean, I have it. I just don't have the physical record of it anymore. Uh, Paul McCartney's Wonderful Christmas Time, which is not any, that kind of stinks. But, and anyway, other Christmas records that I would pick up here and there. And I remember uh, having the Beatles, hearing about back when I got into the Beatles in the early 70s, which would have been about 72, 73-ish when I really, really got into music. And there weren't a whole lot of books and magazines like there are now. There wasn't internet, and there wasn't a million books on Amazon or in the bookstores, what bookstores are left, that is, nowadays, like there is now. So when a Beatles book or magazine would come out, it was a pretty special occasion, and finding information about them and so forth. So I got a book that was All Together Now. I should have grabbed it to show it to you, but you've probably seen it. It came out in 75, and in that book it had pictures of the albums from England and America, and it was just a list of all the Beatles, solo Beatle releases from 61 to 75. I think the book actually came out 70 into 75. So it had picture sleeves, 45 picture sleeves pictures with as well as album pictures, which confused me at the time because, like I said, there wasn't a whole lot of information about the Beatles. So I saw like Lady Madonna in the Inner Light and Helping I'm Down, and initially I thought, wow, are these like Beatle albums that I haven't run across or hadn't heard of? Or there are more Beatle albums out there than I knew of? Because by that time I knew I knew all the Beatles albums. I thought the American ones anyway, because didn't really have the British ones around yet. This is way before CDs. So at some point I figured out they were 45s, and I didn't know what picture sleeves were at that time. I remember my brothers, I got quite a few Beatles and other records from my brothers that they had left behind when they went to college and so forth and moved out, and quite a few 45s, Beatles, Rolling Stones, Monkees, and some Motown, stuff like that. Uh, None of them had picture sleeves, so I finally figured out what picture sleeves were, that they were just the first. Well, you know what picture sleeves are, so I don't have to explain that to you. But anyway, and I saw in there something called Beatles Christmas album, and I thought, wow, this isn't one of those 45 picture sleeves. This is an actual album, so I gotta get this, And I called, checked around record stores, and first they didn't know what I was talking about, and eventually someone told me that that was a fan club only, and that they're not around anymore. So I was all excited, wanting to get this. I knew it was pretty valuable back then. I mean, I think they were going for $100 or so. Now they go, if you can find an original, they go for several $100s. But and I didn't know what was on it. I thought it was just the Beatles singing Rudolph and Silent Night, and because they didn't play it on the radio back then. They do now. From the late 70s, early 80s on, they play those little messages on the radio every year around here. but they didn't hit then. Long story short, I finally got hold of one. I got a bootleg. I don't have an original. Back around 77 or so, and that's a whole other story of where I first found bootlegs, because I'd heard of bootleg records for several years, but had no idea where you got them or how you got them, and nobody that I knew what I was talking about. But I found a place in Dallas that sold them. But anyway, so I got the Beatles Christmas album, just a white label bootleg with a piece of paper glued on it, those old style bootlegs. So that was pretty cool. And so anyway, other bands, I got the Do They Know It's Christmas Band-Aid. I got the Very Special Christmas, is that everyone, quite a few people have shown on here, that came out in '85 with the Pretenders and Madonna and John Cougar, I think, Bruce Springsteen, U2, all that. I got all that. And whenever a band would do a Christmas record, I kind of went out of my way to try to find it, because I always thought that was something special and neat. So, jump forward several decades, and I'm a reporter for a newspaper. So and I actually write better than I talk, and more concise too, believe it or not. But anyway, or I think I do anyway. So every holiday, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, we're always trying to find something holiday related to write about. So last year, and we've done a ton of things. So that's why it's kind of hard to, because you've done so many things. The haunted place in town, you can only do so much, et cetera, et cetera. But last year I thought, well, I like Christmas records, so I'll write about my Christmas records. So I went home at night, I pulled out all my Christmas records, and I was like, yeah, golly gee, man, I've got a lot more of these than I thought I did. So I wrote the article about Christmas records, and that's that. But then I thought, well, then I found the VC like a month or two later, and I was stumbling around on YouTube looking for something else, and I ran across some videos, and what's this vinyl community? Sounds like the place I need to be. So I got into that, and I started making some videos, and I think my first video, I don't remember, but I want to say February, March, somewhere in there. And I thought at the time it'd be cool to do Christmas records at some point, but obviously not in March. So I've been looking forward to doing a Christmas record video since I joined. And speaking of being a reporter, look at that, there's a dog running for mayor of Cleveland. There's some hack wrote that, and there's actually a dog running against the mayor, so that's kind of cool. We'll see if he wins. But anyway, so yeah, Christmas stuff. I love Christmas music, and love collecting it, and didn't really realize till last year just how much I apparently do, because of the number of stuff I have. And I still, when new stuff comes out every year, it seems like I have to gotta get it feeling. So CDs, let's go through those pretty quick. Alright, what's this? Percy Sledge, the Atlantic Recordings Rhino release, that's 4 CDs, came out. I think it's out of print now. What in the world does that have to do with Christmas? Well, not much of anything, with the exception of there is on the 4th disc his version of Silent Night and something called Christmas Wish. I don't know if you can see that, but that was a 45 released in 1969, and only released in the Netherlands for some reason, was never released anywhere else. So his Christmas single from 1969 is on here. I think it's been released subsequently on compilations and stuff other than this, but 45 only released in the Netherlands, probably worth a pretty penny if you can track one down. So yeah, Silent Night, and we've all heard Everybody and His Dog do Silent Night. Percy Sledge is a great singer, so he does a great version of it, obviously. It's good. The Christmas Wish song is no great shakes, but it's sort of just there. So, is this worth getting for the 2 Christmas songs? No, but it's definitely worth getting, because if you love soul music, Percy Sledge is one of the greats of country soul, southern fried country soul. And there's 4 CDs, and it's just pure gold pretty much through and through here. If you only know When a Man Loves a Woman, there's a whole lot more to Percy Sledge than that. So there's that Percy Sledge Christmas song. This, of course, several people have shown that, but we'll talk about that more later. So let's move on. We have, this came out in 2010. Thought it was a couple of years ago. It was 3 years ago. Destination Christmas, the Superions. This is Fred Snyder from the B-52s and two other guys. I don't have any idea who they are. And a little book comes with it. This did come out on vinyl, I found out subsequently. I got this new in 2010. It's still available on vinyl, and I would have got it that way had I known at the time, but I saw this somewhere and just picked it up. And so yeah, 2010 I got this. I played it a handful of times. I didn't like it at all, really. It's kind of third-rate B-52s, sort of, and I like the B-52s. They're good. Like some of their songs. A little B-52s goes a long way, but this is kind of cut-rate B-52s, and it's a little too tries too hard to be funny. It's a little too clever for its own good, I think. A little too knowing and sort of smug attitude to it. And I played it and just didn't really like it, so I tossed it back in the shelf and thought about trading it in for something or selling it off next time I went to the record store, but I kept it. So I thought, but then I pulled it out. I pulled a lot of these records that I hadn't listened to, and I've been listening to them in the last few days to kind of refamiliarize myself with them. And so I pulled this out, and I wasn't looking forward to hearing it again. I had, like I said, I think I played it 4 or 5 times driving to and from work back in when I got it a few years back, and didn't like it at all, really. Wasn't looking forward to hearing it again, but I thought I better give it another shot. And oddly enough, kind of grew on me, and I would well, I'm not going to say this is great, but I like it better than I did those first few listens. The thing about it is, Snyder is not the greatest vocalist, which is no great shakes, because a lot of people in rock and roll you can say that about. But so I mean, I can live with him. He's not terrible, but his voice can get a little grating after a while. And in the B-52s, he had Kate and Cindy who could sing to balance him off. Here it's just him doing the singing mainly. These other two guys might chime in a few here and there, but it's mainly his vocals. The songs are kind of funny, sorta. That they want to be funnier than they actually are. Are there those kind of things where you get the joke and it's okay, that's fine, and if it would last a couple of minutes, that'd be fine, but it lasts 4 or 5 minutes, and you're like, yeah, okay, we get it. But musically, the thing about it is, this sounds like old B-52 stuff. It sounds like totally 80s, kind of Valley Girl, that new wave, totally awesome 1980, 81, 82 vibe to it. Kind of when MTV started and was actually kind of fun for about 3 years, and then since then it's been totally worthless. But I mean, back in those days, and then it's also, some of this is kind of more dance or electronica, latter day 80s sound. So musically, yeah, it's not bad. The thing I think that put me off is that if you overlook the singing and the words, which there's a lot of, it's all secular. There's nothing, I don't know if anyone's looking for the religious side of Christmas. You're not going to find that here. I think there's one reference to the manger, but everything else in here is Santa Claus and snowman and reindeers and Christmas trees, which, but so Christmas themed lyrics, but the music doesn't sound like Christmas music in any way whatsoever, which is not a bad thing. It's just not Christmassy sounding, and if you're wanting that out of your Christmas music, you're not going to find it here. There's a few instances of somebody shaking sleigh bells here and there, but that doesn't really give it enough to make it sound like Christmas music, because, I mean, I Want to Be Your Dog on the Stooges album has sleigh bells, and that's not a Christmas song in my mind. It's a great song, but if you ignore the lyrics and just listen to the music, it's kind of a fun 80s sounding album. Um, so yeah, it's better than I thought it was originally. It's nothing great. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give it a 4, I think. Uh, as far as for Christmas music, it kind of really doesn't work, but if you're having a Christmas party, the music is upbeat and fun, so you might put it on at a Christmas party and it could work. Anyway, so it's okay. I'll keep it. How often I'm going to listen to it again, I don't know, but anyway, moving on to something much, much better. This came out, I don't know when, several years ago. 208 says here. This is Little Steven's Underground Christmas A Go-Go. There's also a Halloween CD of Halloween music. This is, unfortunately, was never out on vinyl, I don't think. Got a great lineup here. Keith Richards doing Run Rudolph Run, the old Chuck Berry song. You got Bob Seger doing Sock It To Me Santa from 1966, a 45 that is impossibly, incredibly rare, according to this. Extremely rare. I don't know why, because he wasn't known in 66 yet, so it was probably just a low-run print 45. But it's a cool song. It's really great. You got the Ramones, you got Wizard, you got someone called the Fab Four doing Silent Night, sung to the tune of Norwegian Wood. So they kind of do Beatles songs with the Beatles song music with Christmas song, singing Christmas songs. And I guess they've done a record, I don't know, because I've heard them on Little Steven's Underground Garage Radio on XM, doing some other Beatles songs, Christmas music to other Beatles songs. So Joe Pesci was kind of fun. You got the Kinks' Father Christmas, one of my favorite Christmas songs. You've got Brian Setzer Orchestra. The Cocktail Slippers, Santa Is Coming Home, is a really good song. The Cocktail Slippers are on Little Steven's record label. Get a lot of play on his radio show. So that's fun stuff. That's still available. Pick it up. That's worth upbeat. Certainly good for parties and your listening pleasure. This one is a record label called Dust to Digital, which does old 78s, old music from like the turn of the century, last century, not this century, up to like the 50s. And so this is Where Will You Be Christmas Day, and I wish they would have put this out on an album because it'd be really cool. But this is Christmas songs from 1917 to 1959. Again, apologize, I know that's backwards. So it's a lot of old spirituals and country and gospel and blues, and it is some fun stuff. If you like the music in Oh Brother Where Art Thou, the movie, it's kind of that style of music, but Christmas themed. And you get a couple of postcards. There's Christmas in Jail, Ain't That a Pain? Another postcard which is basically the same thing, and you get a little booklet there that has doesn't really have much in, just has the song listings, and so it is pretty cool and pretty fun stuff. And they've got some, most of these are from America, but they do have some songs that are from like South America and Ireland and so forth. And some of the songs on here don't seem to really be about Christmas at all. I'm not sure why they're on here, but they're still good. But you've got Jingle Bells, which is really the only traditional well-known Christmas song on here. But Papa Ain't No Santa Claus and Mama Ain't No Christmas Tree by Butterbeans and Susie. I mean, you can't go wrong with Butterbeans and Susie, so you just got to get it. And so it's some really great fun stuff. This is not the hop around Christmas party music. This is just listen to at home. So I mean, if you're throwing a Christmas party, you don't want to throw this on because everyone will just sit there and get depressed and go home. But it is definitely worth getting and very, very cool. Moving on. Let's do the and I took the booklet out of there. Gene Autry's Complete Columbia Christmas Recordings, which is 27 songs. We all know Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman, and Here Comes Santa Claus Right Down Santa Claus Lane, which I did not know came out in 1949, and according to the liner notes here, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that, was the first 45 with a picture sleeve ever, and it was done that way so that kids could see it across the store. I've seen it's this green and red, the real thing, and I'd like to track down a copy of that someday. But anyway, kids could see it and run across the store and grab it up and make their parents buy it for them. And then there's the picture sleeve for Rudolph and some others in there, but I think Rudolph was not a 45 with that sleeve. I think that was a excuse me, I think that was a 78, and that would be cool to have too. So I mean, if you know Gene Autry, and this is basically his Christmas music, so classic stuff and fun to have, and no Christmas is complete without. And we have the Complete James Brown Christmas, which collects his Hippo Select. It's a label out of England, I think. They did the great series of CDs from 1956 to 1981 that collected his all of James Brown's 45s. Each CD, well, there's 11 of them, but in that series, and mostly they would collect a year or two's worth of 45s. Definitely worth getting. You know, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag and Cold Sweat. If that's all the James Brown, you know, there's a whole lot more to James Brown than that, and 99% of it is great and worth having. So this collects his Christmas albums. He released 3 Christmas albums, which were Christmas Songs in 1966, A Soulful Christmas in 68, and Hey America, which doesn't sound that Christmassy, but that came out in 1970. And then there's a few Christmas 45s and a couple of bonus tracks at the end of that. This James Brown is great. You should get it. This is the funny thing is, this isn't the wow, you know, James Brown that we're all used to. This is the more subdued, somber, and thoughtful James Brown, because he's singing here about, you know, Santa Claus goes straight to the ghetto and kids without Christmas presents and stuff like that. So it's all it's not the party jump around James Brown. There's a couple of songs on here that are like that, but the majority of it is pretty somber for listening to late at night by the fire with your girlfriend or wife, or just enjoying driving in the car by yourself. Probably not the upbeat party CD that you would think James Brown would be, but good stuff. Pick that up. And let's see, REM. Not a big REM fan. I liked them in the 80s, but lost interest in them in the 90s, and now there's a handful of their songs that I like, but not too many. But nonetheless, they and the Beatles are the only bands that I knew that their fan club, and they put out a Christmas record every year. REM did it from, I want to say, 88, 89 until they broke up in whenever that was, 2008, 2010. Here is CD, I Wanted to Be Wrong and She Just Wants to Be, which is, I don't know what those songs are, if they're Christmas related or not. Some of their CDs were Christmas related, some were just them doing songs. Came in an envelope. You get a, this is the 205 Christmas package. You get a calendar, you get a little card, so that's cool. And those only went out to their fan club members. Here is the 94, and this is actually a 45, so you do get some vinyl in this. Sex Bomb, whatever that is, and Christmas in Tunisia. Comes in a box. You get a card and a calendar and all that stuff. And the same thing goes for, this is the I don't know which one, I Will Survive and Only in America 45. This is from 1996 fan club single. And so I've got those 3 REM Christmas fan club records, and that's pretty cool. I wish more bands would have done that. than just them and the Beatles. So, see, I'm already been talking for a day and a month. Lastly, I will save the last one because I'm at 30 minutes. And, well, let's do it. We're here. I don't know how you say his name. Sufjan Stevens, Christmas Sing-Along. Comes in a cool box. This was never out on vinyl. It's got 2, 3, 4, 5 CDs of Christmas records that he made between 2000 and or 201 to 206. He skipped 204 because he was busy with the Come On Feel the Illinois album. It's got a comic strip that folds out into a poster of him. I'm guessing that's his wife and kids. I don't know the man personally. It's got a booklet, and it's got some great, well, it's got the songs and it's got the musical chords for the songs if you want to play along. And it's got a great story that he wrote about Christmas when he was a kid that is hilarious, about his family and tube socks in the fireplace. It is definitely worth reading. What he did, he made these little Christmas records, probably just on a cassette. Actually, he says they're just on CDR, and he would record. And these were not for public release. These were just him goofing around, and he would record. Each one of these is like 15 or 20 minutes long. So he would record some Christmas songs. Some of them are the well-known ones, Deck the Halls and Adestus Fidelis and We Wish You a Merry Christmas. And some of them are songs that he would write. He would record those, and he would give them to family members and friends for Christmas, just as stocking stuffers. They liked it so much that he kept doing that. It kind of became a tradition. At some point, someone said, "Hey, you ought to release these to the public," and that's what he did. Didn't come out on vinyl, I don't think, ever, but it did come out in this cool box set, which is still available and is pretty reasonably priced for 5 CDs. You get, I think it's like 48, 49 songs, and some of the stuff is kind of just there. Some of it is really good. Some of it is completely brilliant and awesome, and it's definitely worth getting. You also get some stickers there, Christmas stickers. So some neat little doodads and toys and some great music. And that is the CDs, and I went forever as usual. But I will be back with one for albums. Hope y'all are still with me. And so that's Christmas Part 1 down. We'll see you later.